Hello everybody, it's Josie here. I'm going to be doing a bit of a different video today. I'm going to be focusing on strong women. So I have my Woman Power t-shirt on today, and I'm going to be recommending some books based on the fact that they have really strong, tough female characters, and characters I admire and I think are inspirational for any woman. So some of these I may have mentioned before, some of them I don't think I've mentioned at all on my channel, so hopefully you'll find something that will inspire you, that will be a bit different, and that you will enjoy reading. So the first one is one I have talked about before, but I couldn't not again here. It's Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagam. This is essentially a YA fantasy, but what I love about this is that the premise of the story is really dark. It is a demon king who picks 8 girls from the kingdom, paper girls, every year to become his concubines, essentially sex slaves, whether they want to or not. And that is really dark, it is really terrifying idea, something that actually happens in the real world. But what I love about this book is that our lead character, particularly, doesn't accept that that is her fate, that that's what she has to do, even though everybody tells her it is, and she fights back. And she also falls in love with one of the other girls, and they end up fighting back. And I love that. I love the fact that in those circumstances where it could be incredibly hopeless and everybody's telling you to accept this is your fate, these girls fight back and they're strong and they're tough. And this is the first in a series, and I cannot wait for more books in this realm. So if you like a fantasy with tough, strong, wonderful female characters and a beautiful queer romance, this is the one for you. And the next one is one I probably haven't talked about on my channel before. It is this one over here called Never Anyone But You. So this book is the fictionalized but based on the real life of artist Claude Cahun and her partner Marcel Moore. Claude was an artist from about the 20s to the 40s, and she was gender fluid. So she really played around with how she looked. She changed her name to Claude, that wasn't her original name. She fell in love with her female friend, her best friend, who changed her name to Marcel. They were in Paris for a while, and then in the 40s, just before the Second World War, they moved to Jersey, and they kind of retired in a way to Jersey. So this story really focuses on that period of their lives, and not only did they have the strength to be who they were, to kind of eschew conventional wisdom about what women were supposed to look like, what women were supposed to be, live their lives in Jersey, but also this is just before the German occupation of Jersey. So the Nazis came and occupied, and Marcel and Claude fought back, and that ended them in jail. It could have ended their lives. And so this is a story about women who were strong enough to be themselves, to love who they wanted to love, but also strong enough to stand up for their principles and what they thought was right and wrong, even if it meant dying. So it's a wonderful, wonderful book. I highly recommend it. It's well written, and if you want to know anything more about Claude's life, it is a really interesting read, and really based on the facts. And the next one is one I've mentioned before. It's Ash, but I love this because different to most fairy tales, the protagonist, Ash, this is a Cinderella retelling, is a tough girl. She also does not fall in love with the prince. She falls in love with the captain of the king's hunt, so the huntress. And they're both really strong female characters, and it's not something you really see in a lot of fairy tales. So I love this, and I highly recommend it if you want a fairy tale with a heavy female feminist slant to it. Then the next book I've got here is Saul Kill Girls by Claire Legrand. Now this, again, had to be incorporated because, again, the premise is quite dark in terms of you have this island of Sawkill where these girls have gone missing for years and no one really knows what's happened to them. And a group of girls go trying to figure out what is actually happening and what's going on in Sawkill. And not only does this really feature, I mean, the male characters are not great and incidental to most of the story, so you've got these really strong lead characters that are all girls, but it is about friendship. It is also about diverse sexuality, so you have gay, bisexual and asexual girls represented in this book, but you also have those questions throughout it of what are women worth? Girls are worth nothing. You know, it's that premise is, well, a girl is disposable, and these girls will not accept that, and they will fight back. And I love that about this book, so highly recommend. And the next one is a autobiography, and it's this one here, appropriately called Brave by Rose McGowan. Again, for those of you who don't know, Rose is an actress, producer, director, musician, artist, and she was also the actress that kind of blew the lid on the whole Harvey Weinstein debacle, and really showed the world what kind of a person he is. And she has had an incredibly difficult and interesting life. This autobiography is fantastic, and the title of it is perfect because she is brave, she is strong, she has fought against so many things in her life, and she's come out stronger and on top, and I love her and I find her incredibly inspirational. And if you want to read an inspirational woman, read this book. I love it. Then the next one, second last one I've got here, is again another autobiography, Just Kids by Patti Smith. If I had to pick my favourite book in the world, this would be it. And this charts the story, and Patti Smith is an artist, a singer, a writer, and this is about the 1970s New York, and it's about her ascent to stardom, essentially, and her love story and her friendship with Robert Mapplethorpe, the photographer. And again, there was so much adversity in her life, so many things she needed to deal with, but she's so strong. She is the epitome of what a strong woman should look like. She also was quite androgynous at a time when that wasn't necessarily the done thing, and if you like sort of androgynous style, I'd highly recommend picking up some photos, especially that Robert Mapplethorpe has taken of Patti Smith in the 70s, because they're absolutely gorgeous. But this book is beautifully written and is just my favourite book of all time. And then, quick shout out to Nancy Drew, the original tough girl, in my opinion. I love a bit of Nancy Drew. Picked this up for fun at a charity shop, and I cannot wait to get my nose back in Nancy Drew over I don't know how many hundreds of years I haven't read it. So that's me. Those are my strong women. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll speak to you soon. Have a good day. Bye bye.